Hi, in this video I'm sharing with you my September 2020 sales so that you can get an idea of what's selling right now on eBay in hopes that you can give it a try as well. So if you're curious to see some of the things that I sold last month, keep watching. My name is Celeste. I've been reselling for a few years and I'm taking it pretty easy right now. I'm working about 20 to 25 hours a week right now. Meanwhile, everything goes back to normal and the kids can go back to school. I did plateau this month. Actually made a little bit less than last month, which again is totally okay because I've been working about the same. I haven't been working more. I've actually been working a little bit less. So in September, I made $3,858.77. I sold 155 items and I listed 178 items. So if you compare it to my last video and my August sales, I sold less items for a greater amount of money. So that means I worked a little bit less actually. And that just had to do with me making better choices when I was shopping and selling the items for a little bit more than last month. I think it's also important to note that I source all of my items from thrift stores and garage sales, and that's just a preference of mine to keep my costs low. I don't spend, right now I'm not spending more than about $500 a month on items so that it makes sense. So I don't go to like retail stores or anything, and I get my items pretty cheap. I source about once to twice a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I typically spend about $100 a week, a little bit more, a little bit less. But it just turns out to be about $500 or less every month. I always try to shoot for selling items or picking up items that I know I can sell for at least $15 so that, you know, I'm not working very hard. I'm not listing many items. Of course, higher priced items are a better choice, but you don't always find them. And so sometimes you have to deal with the lower end items, and that's fine. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that because it makes sense for me. So when I go to thrift stores and garage sales, I don't always find the best items as if you were like to shop elsewhere, like in Nordstrom's Rack or source online. So my average sales price per item is a little bit lower. And again, that again is just what you're comfortable with. I'm okay with that because I get my items for so cheap. So every month I am going to share the top 5 brands that sold for me and about how much they sold for so that you can get an idea of, you know, if it's a good idea to pick these items up at your thrift store and for what amount. The brand that sold the most, again, for the second consecutive month, was Free People. I sold 15 items from Free People last month, from $15 to $22. So it wasn't like the greatest return, but they're items that, you know, I can pick up for pretty cheap and I can sell pretty quickly. So that's why I keep picking up Free People. The item that sold for the most was this wrap top that sold for $22, and I'll share it here. The rest were tops as well. So the brand that I sold the second most of was Nike. Again, I sold 12 items and they ranged from $15 to $20. A lot of them were the shorts, the Nike Pro shorts, and a pullover sweater. Again, I get them for very cheap and I can flip pretty fast. I don't pick them up if they're like $5. I pick them up there if they're like $1, $2, because I know that I can still make a pretty good profit from them. The third best brand last month was LULULEMON. I sold 9 items and they range from $15 to $48. The $15 was like a sports bra. I did sell a lot in the $20-$30 range, some tops and leggings, but the most was $48, and it was the Principal Dancer leggings that I'll put up here so you can see. The fourth brand that sold the most of this last month, EILEEN Fisher. I sold 6 items from $15 to $51. And the highest was this maxi dress that I sold for $51. I actually picked it up at a regular thrift store for about $8. I did pay up for it. I usually don't pay that much for something, but I knew it was gonna bring me back money pretty quickly, and so I decided to auction it off. and I ended up with $51 for it. I was pretty happy about it. And the last brand that was popular last month, if you can say that, because I only sold 3 of them, was Soft Surroundings. And this one was it sold in the range of $15 to $23. It was this 2X tunic, the one that sold for the most, and it sold for $23. So that was great. Then I'm sharing another 13 items that I think are popular, that I think are good brands to pick up, and I would definitely pick them up if I saw them again at a thrift store, okay? And so keep an eye out for these brands. The first one is, they're not in any particular order like I always say. I simply just write them down, and they're not in any particular order. And the first one is Citron, and this one was a silk top. It was like a little tank with a blouse on top. It was a tunic, and this one actually sold for $50 through best offer. This very unique print that just caught my eye, and I did pick it up at a thrift store for about $4, and so it sold about a month later for $50. The second item I had for a few months, actually. It was this Frank and Eileen shirt, and this one sold for $27.99. It didn't sell as quickly as I thought it would. It sold for a pretty okay amount of money. I think it just has to do with like the print and the fabric and all that. This one was cotton, and it was like a plaid print. The next was this alpaca 111 cardigan. This one was the first time of me picking it up, but I picked it up because of the fabric. The alpaca, I feel like, is popular, and although it didn't have many sold comparables, I still took a risk, and I'm glad I did. I sold it through best offer for $30. It did take a few months to sell, but I feel like it was because I listed it during the summer, so I just needed to wait a little bit longer for it to sell. Number 4 was this K-Way Lee jacket. I've never heard of this brand, and it caught my eye because it was new with tax, so I looked it up, and I actually sold it for $20. I picked it up, I think it was about $3 or $4 that I paid for, and so it sold pretty quickly, within a month, I believe. So I will definitely be picking this item up again if I do see it. The next one is, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I'm going to say Orla Kylie. This top caught my eye because of just the print. It was unique, very, very simple. Very retro, and this one sold through best offer for $24, and I picked it up from a regular thrift store for about $3. This next Johnny Was top, I actually saw it at a thrift store, and it didn't have any tags on it, like the main tag or the care instructions tag, and people tend to do that sometimes when they donate their clothes. They know resellers are out there, and they will resell their clothes, so they in an attempt to like disguise the brand, they will cut the tags out, and it's unfortunate. But you know, I think a lot of us seasoned resellers, we know our stuff, we know our brands, and we know how they feel, and we've just, you know, I've had some experience with this brand, and I knew as soon as I saw it, I knew it was Johnny Was, and so I quickly just looked it up, and I described it in Google, or I think it was eBay, I'm not sure, and it popped up surely, and it was one that did have the tags, so I picked it up for like $2. Again, it was cheap because it didn't have a tag or anything, and so I did place it up on an auction because of the fact that it didn't have tags. I started it for $19.99, and it ended up selling for $26. I was happy, really, because I feel like nobody else maybe might have picked it up because it didn't have a brand or anything, but I was happy to sell it within a week of picking it up. The next one is this Gun Sachs vintage skirt. I actually picked up from the bins, so it was like less than $1. It was a smaller size. I could have definitely just kept it as a buy it now price, but I really just wanted to sell it quickly. So I did start it at a auction for $25, and it sold for that. I was fine with that, and I'm sure the customer was happy to get a great deal for this brand. The next was this cabbie top. It was a cabbie snake charmer top, and it sold for $51. With cabbie, you really want to look up comparables with that style number that you'll find in the care instructions tag, and then you'll just see if, you know, it's nice because you can just quickly see if it's good or not, if it's selling for a lot or not. Even if you're gonna pay up for the item, and if they're selling for like $50, $60, $70, you know, it's okay to pay $10 for. But if it's like selling for like $20 and it's like $10, it just doesn't make sense. So this one, I honestly don't remember how much I picked this one up for, but I'm sure it was like less than $5. And I picked it up because there weren't any currently for sale, and so I knew that if somebody wanted it, they would buy it. Next was a Lily Pulitzer dress that I found at the bins. So it cost me about $1 or $2 because it was a little bit heavier. As soon as I saw the print from another bin, I had to go pick it up, and I knew it was Lily Pulitzer's. Just experience with doing it a lot of times and picking up quite a few of Lily Pulitzer. And so again, this one also didn't have a main tag or didn't have a care instructions tag, but I had a gut feeling, and I looked it up and I found the same exact dress for sale. It was selling for like, I think it was $80, $90. And so again, mine didn't have a tag, so I decided to sell it for cheaper and make a customer happy. Why not? So I didn't know the size, so I had to measure it. I compared it. I gave it my best guess, really. So I listed it as an auction for starting price $49.99, and it sold for $53. So people want items even if they don't have tags. I think that's just so important. You might not realize what you have when you're just starting out, but I think with a lot of experience, don't be afraid to look things up if you have a gut feeling that it's an item that could possibly be of a brand that you think it could be. You might just be right. And I think it's what's awesome, just with my experience, just by touching fabrics and the prints, is how I knew that it was this particular brand. The next item is a parsley and sage top. It was a 2X top that I found new with tags at a thrift store, and I sold for $42. Parsley and sage does pretty good. The more printed ones do pretty well, especially if they're like a bigger size. So when I saw this one, it was a 2X and it was new with tags. I knew I had to pick it up. So keep an eye out for that brand and the bigger sizes as well. The next one is this Sundance floral thermal top. Again, this one was also new with tags, and I picked it up for about $3.50 and I sold for $30. Even if this was a smaller size, it was a size extra small, but it was new with tags, so that was great. This next item has a really neat story, and I'm going to invite you to check out my Instagram page, my post that I did a few weeks back about this top. It's such a cool story. And it's such a beautiful shirt that ended up selling for $70. So again, check out this item, my post about it on Instagram, Celeste eBays, if you haven't, you're not following me already there. It's pretty cool. I picked it up at a regular thrift store, and I think I paid about $2 for it, and it sold for $70. And last but not least is this Logo Goldstein 2X like tunic jacket that sold for $29.99. This one actually was from a regular thrift store. This one I picked it up. As soon as I saw it, I knew I would take it because it was a 2X logo by Lori Goldstein. Does pretty well for me usually, and so it was a no-brainer. And that's all I have for you today. I hope this video was helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.